Are we ready? Okay. Well, guys, we want to welcome you to what we're going to call a special episode. We're going to have these special episodes every so often when the mood hits me. What we want to do in these is kind of discuss life and what I believe we were meant to have and live, and we're going to try our best to stay away from the politics stuff, but there's some things that we'll never be able to stay away from. So let's just kind of dive into this and let me just get it rolling. So there's certain things that I do when I'm out here working, and it's either working and thinking, okay, about different things, different subjects, or the way life is, or what I could do better in the garden, or it's praying. One of the two is always happening out here. I can think clearly out here, and it gives me some time to relax my mind and focus on different topics that just come to me, right? So I was out here today and I was thinking, we was not meant to live the way we live here in this country. I don't believe that we're living up to the dream and aspirations and desires that the founding fathers had for us. And here's the reason why. Thomas Jefferson, I believe it was, said that if we ever got to a point, and I'm going to paraphrase, but he said if we ever got to a point in America where we, as a people, started living cooped up on top of one another, kind of like in cages, but not literally in cages, but even like this is too much. This is too close. I wasn't meant to only have 1 acre and be 30, 40 foot from my neighbor on one side and half an acre away from the neighbor on the other. It wasn't how we were meant to live. And Thomas Jefferson said that if we ever got cooped up and we were stacked up on top of one another, like in England, that we would become corrupt like they are there. And you see that corruption, the more that people are jammed and packed and pushed, you see more corruption and more corruption and more corruption. Some of the biggest packed cities are full of corruption and full of just wild messes for no reason. Some of y'all probably watched the Yellowstone series with Kevin Costner and Cole Hauser and Kelly Riley and the Luke Grimes and those guys and girls. And you probably watch it and you're probably like, oh, it's a good show. How many of you guys have sat there and said, that's me. That lifestyle fits me. That the way they live is how I want to live, wide open and free, where nobody comes and nobody's going to dictate or delegate how or what I do with my land. You know what I mean? And the way I want to live my life, the dream that I have for my life and for my family, because I can relate to that, and it's so much so that I told my wife long ago when we first started dating, I said, I'll be happy with I'll be happy with a single wide mobile home, okay, and 100 acres of land. And I meant every word of it. I meant every word of it, because I can turn the single wide into a home, okay? I can make that a home. And I can make the land our domain. You know what I mean? I can make that my my way of living, my way of life, my way for my kids to live. Okay. And that dream has always been there. And when I watch Yellowstone, and I'm like, man, I get it. I get the understanding of not wanting people to come in. We have enough mini malls and enough mega malls and enough shopping marts and enough car lots and enough fast food restaurants and enough ski slopes and enough airports. We don't need anybody or any more. You know what I mean? And the more that we as a people buy the goods, which aren't goods, we've been sold just false stuff, right? We've been sold this stuff that says, hey, if you give up your land, we'll build this, and this, which will make your life easier. And we've bought into that lie, so much so that we're willing to fight people that don't want to change their way of living, okay, in order for us to fulfill our wants and desires, okay? And that's wrong. We shouldn't want something so bad that we have enough of, okay, that we desire and covet somebody else's land so that we can have access to it at other locations. And that's essentially what is happening in Yellowstone. You see a man who doesn't want to change with the times, and there's nothing wrong with that. His way of life has been protected for 100 or more years, right? And he's looking at this as, people are trying to take away my way of living, and they're trying to take away my inheritance and my kids' inheritance. And all the while they're trying to take it, the kids are kind of like in this limbo. We don't want to upset dad, but at the same time, we don't really want it either. And one of them don't want it because she is not built for that, right? She's not, she said it 1,000 times, if it was mine and he dies today, tomorrow I'd call you and sell you every bit of it, but that's not what he wants, so I'm not doing it. And that's sad. That's very sad. And that's a lot of times what has happened. We have had stuff in the families for generation, and there comes a generation that says, I don't want this life. I don't want nothing to do with this. And they get rid of it, okay? And that right there changes the whole dynamics, because you could have given your kids something greater than what you did, but you got rid of it for your mere pleasure. Does that make sense? And then you got, Luke Grimes, who's playing Casey, who wants the land and wants everything, and he loves it, but at the same time he's got a wife that's like, I don't want this, I don't need this is too much, and blah blah blah, and on and on and on and on and on. And he don't really want to fight her, and he don't really want the fight that the ranch has to constantly have with people trying to take the land. He just wants it, and he wants it simple, and he wants to work it. And that's the way it should be. It should be that we have our land, and we're in, if you've worked for it and you've had it, and you've worked that land continuously, then who is anybody to say that you don't need that much, or you need less of, or you shouldn't want it? You know what I mean? Or want to take part of it, or or all of it, in order to satisfy their desires for a mall or an airport or whatever, right? And we just constantly see this more and more and more today, that our way of life is dying, and our kids don't understand what their grandparents went through. And I think it's a shame that we've got such a disconnect between where our heritage, where our roots started, where our food comes from, how things really work and operate. The whole dynamic is lost, and it's lost because a few are willing to give up everything so that they can have a little bit of possessions. You know what I mean? And then those possessions turn into be corruption. You know, it's just more and more corruption in order to obtain more and more and more. And we keep getting sold these bills of lies. You know, just one lie after another, and saying, well, if you had another ski slope, you'd be happier. If you went skiing in this place, or you went and bought a car at this place, or you went and had, you know, that, or you had this specific seed to grow, or this or that, all these things, and in order for us to be happy, right, to achieve our happiness, when in reality, if we all just kind of say, hey, you know what, I think we got enough shopping malls. We got enough Walmarts. We got enough Kmarts. We've got enough gas stations and food places to eat. We want real, unaltered, pure land, and that's all we want. And we want it for us and for our children. And we don't want no more of the gimmicks. We don't want no more of the Nintendos. We don't want no more of the Xbox. We don't want more PlayStations or TV or this or that. We want the land, and we want the land to be able to work on and to live on and to live with it and give back to it as much as it gives to us. And you know, as a veteran, I can even understand, like 1883 come out last night, right? And I'm watching both episodes of 1883 with Sam Elliott and Tim McGraw and Faith Hill and Billy Bob Thornton, okay, and even Tom Hanks had a cameo in it, right? And I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, you guys have, you know, Taylor Sheridan has captured the raw emotions of what it is to be a veteran and have been at war and seen horrible things, and what he wants and desires. Because again, now that I've watched these, it's like, man, that is exactly how I think and what I want for my kids. I want to provide enough for my family and for my kids so that they can work off of the land, and then their kids can work off the land, and so on and so forth. Like, I want to amass an empire, and not for profit or gain, but for my family. You see what I'm saying? And my dreams and my aspirations, though they might change in my children, I'm hoping to instill enough of this into them that it's their dreams and aspirations as well. Maybe not in the same direction, but they don't completely divert from it and sell it. You see what I'm saying? I want them to be able to keep it and have it, and go down that path and work on the land with the land, you know? So I'm sitting here and I'm watching 1883, and I'm like, you know, he's captured all this. You know, Tim McGraw, he's been at war. He's wanting to go out west. He's wanting to get the land. He knows what he wants in his mind. That's kind of where I'm at. I know what I want in my mind, and he stops at nothing to get it. He's going to stop at nothing, absolutely nothing, to get what he desires for him and his family, right? Which is peace and land, okay? And you know, I'm the same way, and I'm watching this, and then I sit back and I wonder, although they capture this and seeming to have understanding of it, as actors and singers that they are, how much do they really understand of it? Because they can go out west and play in these movies and get on these sets and, you know, play cowboy and ride horses and round up cattle and all this great stuff. But how much of that life do they really understand? You know, how much of it do they understand that they're willing to actually fight for those kinds of people to keep their land, you know, and to keep their traditions? Because Hollywood says that those kinds of people and that lifestyle isn't good. It's not right. It's not popular. It's outdated, and we don't need it. But yet these people are going out here and playing these roles, trying to portray this stuff and make it out to be this awesome thing, which it is. It is. It's beautiful. It's awesome. And yet the same Hollywood that makes this stuff says that it's wrong to do. So I'm wondering, how much of it do they understand? You know, how much of it do they really get? And that this stuff is so ingrained in some of us, so deep in some of us, that we're not changing for nothing. Right? We're not bending, we're not bowing, we're not changing. If anything, we got our foot, okay, on the gas, holding that pedal down and driving forward to get that ultimate goal of more for our family. Okay? And you know, it's I was just thinking about all that today, and I don't know, it just kind of struck me, you know, that while they play all this stuff, I don't think they really understand. I don't think they get it. And I think that people, you know, that are like me, or even some of you that understand what I'm saying, and know that, you know, that you know, we have been sold lie for lie, and the government and these business bodies have gotten and amassed so much wealth and so much land that it's sad that we are so dependent upon all of that, that we're just, I mean, we are where we are in America, where we have no understanding. Um, we don't know the truth about a farmer. We don't know the truth about a cattleman. We don't know how things are made, or how things are grown, or how things are harvested. Um, we don't have that. We don't have any tradition anymore, and it's sad. And we need that. We need that that group of people that has grit and determination and will to strive for those things. And we also got to teach people about it. And it's not always fun. It's not always, you know, farming is not fun. The farming is not easy. It's a lifestyle, and it's a choice, and it's beneficial, right? And to me, there's no greater, you know, greater call than, you know, as far as a business would be concerned, or a lifestyle, than being that of a farmer, or a gardener, you know, like a mass producing gardener. And not like what we're used to eating out of a grocery store either. You know, I mean legitimate people that's going out here growing during the summertime, and once produce is gone, they don't really have, you know, there's nothing they can do. I mean, they could try to grow in greenhouses and grow the same crop in the greenhouse the same way, and you know, it's but outside of that, you know, it's just a way of life that I don't think I would change for anything. And if anything, I want more of it. I want more of this life. This rugged, hard life that most people would say, I'm not shoveling crap. I'm not getting out there in the muck. I'm not dealing with the chickens. I'm not dealing with the pigs and the goats and the cows and the sheep and the rabbits and the this and the that. And I'm not getting on a horse, and I'm, you know, blah, 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 blah. Whereas I see those things as liberating and freedom. And I don't know. It's just that's how I see it. And um, I don't know. Let me know how y'all feel. Let me know how y'all feel. You know, is any of this making sense, and hitting home with some of y'all? And if so, let me know what you think. If you got kids, how are they handling it? You know, do you sit around and put them on Xbox and PlayStation and stuff to get them out of your hair, or do you say, hey, you got work to do outside, go get it done, you know, and make them get out there, and teach them how to do this stuff, because it's important. It's a good skill to have. It's important. It teaches them responsibility and patience, and it teaches them how to care for things other than themselves. okay? Because that right there is what is really wrong with the world. Is if it's not for me, not about me, not concerning me, not going to benefit me, I want nothing to do with it, okay? And they just don't have any feeling or care for anything outside of themselves. They're self-centered people. Whereas this kind of life, you can't help but to care for everything, you know, and to give it the right care and nurture it and baby it and all that stuff that comes with it, um, in order to be successful and make it grow and make it thrive and live and you know make it to the point where you're going to harvest it or breed it or whatever you're going to do with it, right? So anyhow, hope you guys enjoy this first little episode of On the Mountain with Ryan. I live on the mountain, so we're just gonna call it On the Mountain, right? Um, so anyhow, uh, guys, look, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you the next time. All right, right here on the Mountain with Ryan.
Don't forget to smash that like button. Hit that notification bell. Don't forget to share.
Thank you, good sir.
You're welcome. And subscribe.